Welcome to Your Next Level Now with your host, Bob Donnell. As a human behaviorist, Bob has helped people from every walk of life reach their next level, both personally and professionally. Whether a celebrity, professional athlete, or entrepreneur, Bob has helped them align their behavior with their desired result in their life and career. This is Your Next Level Now with Bob Donnell.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to Next Level by Association. We have got a great message tonight brought by a great gentleman that I've just become acquainted with in the last couple of weeks, actually. I've heard about him, just didn't know him. And what I think you're going to be excited about is you're going to learn from somebody who's truly dealt with adversity, dealt with challenges, overcome those things, has become a better person for it, has helped thousands, if not millions, around the globe get their true footing and find their true north so that they can actually become the best version of themselves. And so with that being said, let me introduce you to James.
Hey, buddy. How are you, Bob? First of all, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Hello. I see Jim Miller there as well. Just wanted to say hello to everyone. I'm honored to be on. And
Awesome.
tonight I was rushing. I was like, I don't want to be late. I'm just glad to be here with you, brother.
Absolutely. We're glad you're here.
Today's been a phenomenal day. I'm looking forward to sharing some highlights about today with you.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just start. I want to kind of jump into the deep end. And that is, at 11, you're in the hospital for the 34th surgery.
That's right.
34th at 11.
34th surgery. I've never taken a step in my life on my own. Things that people see their 9-month-old, 11-month-old child do. I had never done yet.
And you wake up from the surgery with minus one leg.
Angry, disappointed. No one told me it was going to happen, and no parent there to comfort me.
Man, when I heard that part of the story, I was just blown away. No parent there to comfort you. Let's talk about Matt and Gilbert.
Matt,
yeah, tell me about that, because that's what you were waking up to, having on one or each side of you in the hospital.
One of the greatest things about it is that we had become friends. So we were brothers born in captivity, if you will, because we were there in the hospital. Everyone was going through something. Matt lived in an incubator. Dad would touch him through gloved apparatus that would reach inside of the incubator that kept him. But he was so brilliant. He was 8, but he was funny. He was outgoing. He was caring. He was empathetic, and he was just tiny and extremely deformed. Well, one morning I'm waiting for Matt to come back from therapy. His mom and dad walked back in, and they said, "I want to thank you for being friends with Matt. He would have wanted you to have this." And they hand us his teddy bears. And Matt has passed away. And so this is my first experience, first embrace that kids die. And the fact that his mom and dad, whom first time we're looking at mom and dads together, they would give us his toys and show us love. So now it's just Gilbert and I. Gilbert is paralyzed from the neck down from a fall at Cabrini Green Apartments in Chicago. Being that he's in this situation, hopeless, frustrated, disappointed, all those things, I watched him go through it all because they put a mirror on the ceiling so that he and I could communicate and look at each other and talk. His mom comes in one day, Bob, and they close the privacy curtain between us. But there's still a mirror there where I can see his expressions. His mom says that, I need to talk to you, baby. There's no way I can keep coming out here all the time. It's just too much on mama. You see, I got to live my life too. And they say you ain't getting no better. And no sense of me keeping coming out here, and these people better for you anyway. And with those words, his mom left, and he's yelling out, "Mama, have mercy on me, please. Mama, please. I won't be bad no more. I'll do whatever you say." And she's gone. And I watched him try to take his life by holding his breath, biting his tongue. The little thing he had control over, he was trying to use against himself. And I'm watching one kid's dead and the other kid gets abandoned. Now I'm left there with the realities of two different things. You wake up, you have no leg and no support. You also have your two friends that you've made in there. One's dead and the other gets abandoned.
Did you ever feel abandoned? I mean, 'cause you said you woke up and your mom and dad were
Often.
there.
Yeah, I did. I didn't think anybody was coming. You see, you wake up and I felt a sense of betrayal because they took my leg from me. You see, is all I ever known was this body, the way it was, limited as it was. All I wanted was my grandmother, but she couldn't be there. This had to be your parents. And they so both had signed off, and no one thought enough of me to tell me or explain what would happen. When my mom did walk in the room, Bob, the nurse was telling me, "James, one day you're going to play sports, you're going to walk, you're going to run like every other child." My mom walks in and hears that and says, "Don't give him false hope." My mom walks over and said, "He'll never do those things," because all she did is evaluate me on the fact that I had never done that. You see, oftentimes people will judge you by your resume, not for what's really inside of you, not where you're going. The resume can only tell you where you've been. And though I'd been in the wheelchair didn't define me. I wanted to be more. I desired to be more. I was limited because of the frequency of surgeries and rehab and all those things. And so when mom came in and she said, "Don't give him false hope. Boy, you're a cripple. You've always been one. You always will be one. Do you understand that?" And the lady said, "Ma'am, don't give him false hope." She slaps me and says, "Say you're a cripple." And I said, "I'm a cripple." And their hope died in me. You see? She called it tough love and giving me reality that I needed to be reminded that all I was a cripple. Her mindset didn't change by me standing up and walking. And November 7th of 1991, when Magic Johnson announced that he was retiring from basketball for HIV, I was a junior finishing up my junior year going into my senior year. My mom looks at me and said, "I'd rather you have it than him." You see? To her, me getting up and walking wasn't significant. There was never going to be enough where I could overcome that label of being a cripple with no purpose.
You just can't even imagine a mother saying that. Um, and yet we know that it happens more frequently than we care to admit. Um, I love a couple of things that you said in some of your interviews that I watched, that you now have a story and a testimony.
I do.
Um,
I do.
I also want to acknowledge your grandmother. My gosh, what a saint of a woman! What a powerhouse! Let's break down. Your grandmother got in her car or rode the train or bus or what?
She rode a Greyhound bus, brother,
Greyhound bus from where to where?
from Indiana to Chicago without the ability to read or write.
Without the ability to rewrite, to be there for you. And the
Yes.
words that she spoke to you and over you were, what kind of words did she speak over you?
And it's funny you should say, I want to not be emotional with this, but I can't. You see, I wear a Superman because she told me I could be that. And that I would overcome it. And she said that I just had to overcome the kryptonite. And so I can I carry this because all my life, all my pictures, you always see Superman, and they were gifts from her. And it was that I was to be a symbol of hope for other people. She saw it, what I do today, she saw in me before. And I live every day with the understanding that I carry her name.
Hmm.
And so my book is not a book about me becoming something. It's about me understanding my accountability to the investment she made and that I have a ROI that's bigger than my own life.
Yeah.
So forgive me,
No.
but she's gone, but she's ever present in what I'm communicating about her.
Yeah.
She's that significant with me.
Ooh, when I heard that story, I was just blown away. I mean, I thought, you think normally it's the love of the parent that does something like that, but the love of the grandparent, to speak into your life and to be that person for you, when really it seemed like nobody else was. I wish I had had the opportunity to meet your grandmother and tell her thank you, because
Oh,
her doing that made you the man you are, which has transcended maybe a million, maybe 2 million, maybe 5 million lives already. And you've got a bigger goal than that. So we're going to talk about that at
oh,
some point too.
yeah, absolutely. This is a man. I got to tell you, I grew up and my grandmother had this thing called boarders. Boarders are when people got older, they needed a place to stay. She had rooms in her house, and they would stay with us. And and since I really couldn't leave the porch, get around, I would sit and listen to whole conversations with seniors and learn from them and their life experiences. And um, so some of my best friends were in their late 80s, growing up. I would sit and talk with them. There were times there would be, I remember people come into the house and they were like, Miss Kizai. And she's like, yeah. Hey, there's a white guy on your couch. She said, yeah, he's a truck driver. He got tired and needed a place to stay. So I cooked him something, told him to take a nap. And they were, where'd you find him? She said, I was at the grocery store. And he just looked tired. Told him, come get you a shower, baby. That was just her. You know, there was never a time when grandma thought about something bad could happen. No, come on, baby, we got you. We're going to feed you. Yeah, just get
I
you some
love it.
food. Yes,
I love it. I love that. You talk about the reason you work out. I mean, you're into fitness. You are, I mean, you're a stud. I mean, you
Thank
are
you,
a
brother.
stud. I mean, forget the disability of the foot and
Mm.
the leg. I mean, you're just a stud, period, all the way around. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, you name it. But you talked about the reason you work out and encourage every person who suffers a loss is because atrophy will creep in to our bodies. But you took it another step. What did you say after that? Do you remember?
Let me tell you this. Here's the one thing. I don't want to go back to the chair. I can never go back. The wheelchair for me was confining. I watched life go by. I watched my cousins playing. I never knew what it was like to go to the beach. Bob, I got to tell you something. I'm gonna take this a direction you probably didn't expect, but
Okay.
I we went to Florida to see the beach, but I couldn't go out because I still had stitches. I couldn't get near the sand. I had to sit in the van and watch everyone.
Mm.
And my grandmother said, "Baby, I wish you could go out there and see what the ocean was like and stuff." And I never got to do it. So just a few months ago, maybe a month ago, I'm in California, and I'm with Kelly, I'm with Greg, and all those guys. And for the first time in my life, I stepped on sand. But I never had gone out there. I never knew what it was like to feel that underneath me. And so when I went out there with Greg, I experienced things I never knew what it was like to feel the rock or the ocean. And to experience all those things, all I could do was look up and remember sitting in the van with her, keeping me company, wishing that I would experience these moments. Man, I'm 50 when I did that.
Wow.
You understand? Man, when I think about, man, over 40 years had gone by between those moments that I didn't have and when I fulfilled those dreams of hers, for many people, that's a small thing.
Yeah.
For me, that was a milestone. I can't go back to the chair. I, I, I can't allow my leg to die. I can't allow atrophy in. I got to allow my disability to die. I need to bury it and carry my cross forward, brother.
Let your disability die. How do you prepare yourself to get to that point where you're willing to let this thing that, I mean, a lot of people, look, you and I both know a lot of people that hold everything that ever happened to them that was even a mild discomfort as their crutch as to why they don't succeed, why they don't. You've taken that, completely twisted it around. I mean, you've made it such a thing that's not recognizable to most people because of who you are. How did you get to the point where, I mean, I know your grandmother spoke over you, you overcame these adversities, but I mean, to be at 50 and finally get to see the ocean and, you know, and do the things that you wanted to do, how did you prepare yourself to do that and to let this disability die? How did you do that?
Man, let me tell you something. There was a crisis I experienced because I battled and wrestled with my faith in God because I had one request of him.
Mm.
I said, God, if you got to take years off of me and give them to my grandmother, please do. I've been willing to obey you. I've been doing everything that was asked of me. I've given of myself. I've supported people. I've done whatever. All I'm asking is to negotiate with you and ask you, don't take her from me.
Mm.
Not yet. She's the only one that loves me. So when she died, I struggled. One day I was out visiting her grave. It became my custom. And everyone else had moved on with their life, but I couldn't. And then I decided, I said, man, I got to go out and live life big enough for the both of us. To leave the grave clothes behind, to pick up and be like, man, I'm coming back bigger, stronger. Whenever I used to leave the house, grandma would say, baby, what's your name? Not because I didn't know it, but she wanted me to remind myself that I represented her when I went outside the home.
Mm.
And so I decided, man, I'm coming back. I'm going out to conquer this thing. I'm going out to win. I'm going out to speak to people. I'm going to be bold about it. I wore shorts unapologetically. I went after goals. I deadlifted myself into the fact that in the Olympic Training Center in Fort Wayne today, there's a banner of me that hangs on that wall. A banner. And I never went to the Olympics, but every Olympian that trains there sees me. You see, when I think about letting the disability die, man, I just refuse to. I can't go back.
Mm.
Too big of a price was paid for me to be more. And because much is given, much is required, I'm in debt. And brother, I feel like there is, it's almost as if the shot clock is winding down and I need to win the game. And I've clowned around way too long. Everything is all in. I've got all my chips in. Everything is in. And I'm like, so I'm going after this thing. I'm authentic. I share my heart. I don't get on stage and have a speech prepared. I share whatever is in my soul that very second. And whatever I leave there, when I leave empty. I leave a portion of myself and an imprint with them that they can use as a model. So yes, disabilities have to die, excuses have to die so that we can live.
Whew, amen to that. Um, it's just amazing to hear somebody who's actually not only had to do it, but chose to do it, chose to let those limitations die. One of the other things I love that you said was losing a limb is traumatic, but nothing is greater than finding out you have no limitations.
Man,
Can you expand on that? That was powerful.
man, let me tell you something. I thought, man, I remember Coach Lynn said to me, if only you had both legs, kid. If only. As if, man, my life was an asterisk. This is what I found out. The NBA that I dreamed of going to, I've now been able to coach, speak, encourage NBA coaches and players. I now have the opportunity to speak at NFL, XFL. I have opportunities to be, my limitations were mental, not physical. The
Mm,
moment I realized that even if my body couldn't put me in the NBA, the things that my body didn't allow me to do that forced me to develop a skill set to overcome it can put me in the rooms and arenas and places that take limitations off with just my voice. Maybe coach was right, if only. Because if I was able to use my voice to get there, imagine if I had my whole body. But
mm.
God gave me something to overcome, man. He gave me something so that I could become. And I do believe this. If you want to become something, you got to go through something.
Amen. Man. But as people on the outside are watching you go through this, right? Um,
Mm.
what do you want them to know? Like when we see somebody who's going through something, and it may be this type of thing, or maybe a divorce, or maybe a loss
Yeah.
of a job, career, whatever. What do you want people to take from this message to help them get through their obstacle?
Oh, man, you're going to love this. And listen, people always have this idea that when you go through a dark place, the bad things are happening.
Mhm.
In fact, they will say that what you do in the dark will come to the light. And people will use that in a religious sense as if somehow God is judging you. And the reason why you're losing, you should lose your faith in it. But that's not true. The new day of every day starts in the dark. Midnight comes, it's always dark. It doesn't seem like it to you right now, but what you're doing in the dark is becoming someone phenomenal. What you're doing in the dark is between you and God, and the work you put in when no one's watching is the very reason why your name can end up in lights. And the truth is, you weren't interesting in enough before, but now that you've gone through this, people will be interested in how you made it through.
Hmm.
You're becoming something, and whatever it is you're facing must now face you. Don't give up.
Wait, say that again. Whatever you're facing is now facing you.
That's right, brother.
Oh, I like it. I like it. One of the things I took away from what you said was the biggest blessing you ever had was losing a limb.
Yeah.
I I wish, I would love to think that at some point in my life that I could be uh, that grateful for something as tragic as that. What do you think? What do you think? People people who hear that, what do you think that their immediate thought is about that?
Well, it would be like this, but probably much like mine began. When you're looking through the window of life and all you can see is a reflection of your flaws. Sometimes you can see that and you can look out and it seems like you're boxed out of what everyone else is doing. And so here's the difference about the window and the pane. When that thing gets shattered, and if you were to put it back together, all those puzzles, you'd cut your hand because of it, you'd have blood on it and all that. But if you put it back together, it would be like a stained glass window. When you assemble that thing back together, it becomes a Picasso level image. You look back and you realize, I lost the leg, but look what I developed: determination. I developed other skill sets. My soft skills amplified, my empathy for others amplified, my will to survive kicked in.
Mm.
All those pieces come together, and then you look back and you're like, that wasn't a window to keep me out. It was to give me a preview of what I could be.
Ooh, I love it. I love that perspective. I think we all need new perspective a lot of times. No matter
Oh
what,
man.
when we're going through something, if we could just get a little bit different perspective, right? And that's what you're missing. I mean, remember one thing you said that your calling is to build people.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Man, I believe that with all my soul, man. I tried it. I took a job. I was third generation working at General Motors. I probably have built somewhere in the north of 250,000 trucks that drive across the world today, right? And in doing so, I earned an hourly wage. I put myself through some situations, took care of my kids and all that stuff. But let me tell you something. I watched people beside me work. I watched a guy die. His name is Alan. Die on the line, but they don't quite say that. They take him to the hospital and declare him dead there so that it doesn't have liability there. And this guy has a heart attack, dies there. The moment he hit the ground, they pulled his body aside. Someone stepped in and kept working. When they said he died, we still worked. There wasn't a 30-second pause. There was just a replacement there. And I thought about it. I said, this man's funeral is coming. And I went to it. I delivered the UAW Bible there. I get to the funeral and I get up and his family is asking, what was Dad like? And it surprised me that they would ask me. They said, well, you work beside him. And I said, well, he used to be on the phone with you guys all the time. And they said, yeah, but what was he like? Because 16 hours out of a day, he was gone. 6 days out of the week, he was gone. 25 years, he was gone. He missed everything. He worked second shift to get a shift premium. He did everything to provide finances, but he left them with no understanding of what he was, no romance for his wife. His children questioned, did he really love us? He missed everything about their life. And I was thinking about, that cannot be me. But when I invested in trying to teach people, soldiers, how to walk, senior citizens to believe again, children, how to learn to run. When I was building people, I felt peace, I felt purpose. I didn't know how I would profit, and that didn't matter to me. I've used up vacation days when I was building trucks to go visit people to keep them alive. I've had men and women who have threatened suicide and one who followed through with me watching, and I knew then I got to get here sooner. You see, once I started building people one by one, doors began to open for me to continue in that path. It was like as if somebody finally said, Grandma said you finally found your way. And when I started to build these people, they built my life. The freedoms, the positive things, the good things that are happening to me are a result of me finding my purpose. Building those trucks might give somebody transportation, but me helping people walk, man, gave me a destination.
I love the fact that it opened doors for you to build a platform to build people. You have 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube, all right?
Yeah.
And then you've got across other platforms. What do you have? Do you know?
Over 2 million followers, subscribers. But brother, I got to tell you, last month I had 128. When I wrote my bio for last month, I spoke at the VA hospital today with administrators and veterans. And then when I got there to speak, they read my bio and they said with 128 million views. And I was like, that was last month. Yesterday, we discovered we had 192 million. You know what that means, brother? That means more than 62 million people watched last month alone. And put that in terms of this. People have been cheering the Colorado Buffaloes with Deion Sanders. He set records for the biggest college games watched all the last month, right? I have more views than he has views on television if you combine all his games. That's how massive. If you took Tony Robbins' career, he has 67 million views. Last month, we now have 62 million just in a month. You see, this is what I learned. A movement can outperform a man. I'm not pushing James Dixon. I'm pushing absolute motivation. It's absolutely for everyone. It is absolutely possible for everyone. I saw Flo raise her hand. I don't know if that's a.
We'll definitely have her. We're going to turn to questions here in just a minute. I just think that One of your statements that I loved was that you said you owe your younger self an apology. Can you elaborate?
Oh man. Y- Bob, on purpose, this is my childhood bedroom. I'm moving out of this home. We packed it all up and stuff. I came here to do this interview. This is the very room, brother, I grew up in. I'd hid in. I cried. I used to try to pad my leg with ace bandages to try to cover up the fact that the prosthetic didn't look real. And I tried to put padding in it. I did everything I could trying to hide. In this room, man, I was embarrassed. Uh, I never thought I'd be loved. I didn't think I could amount to anything. I thought about taking my life as a teenager and stuff. I went through some stuff, man. And now I look back. I muted a voice, my own. And so now I speak up loudly, man. That young fella that didn't know what was possible, I'm possible, man.
Mm.
And now I'm doing that for other kids, man. Yeah.
Other kids, other adults,
Oh, man, all of them. Man,
people
I'm not discriminating. I'm chasing them all down.
are
Hey,
reaching
listen,
all, brother.
yesterday, a little kid named Mason reached out to me. His mom did. He lost both arms and both legs. He's got some tremendous challenges. He's just a 15-year-old kid. And she said he watches your videos. He looks up to you. So I called yesterday to talk to him. Last night. And then I'm flying into West Virginia to spend some time with this kid. And man, I'm not going to, this is just to invest in him and to help his family raise. All they want is ramps so that they can get his wheelchair up to his bed, back up to the apartment they live in. They need it's 53 steps and they're having a hard time carrying him up and down. And so we're going to make that possible. So brother, yes, I'm chasing down, you can call it Superman if you want or whatever, brother, but I owe a debt.
Mm.
I owe a debt to the young man I was, I owe a debt to that young man that will be.
Yeah, when I heard you say that, I was blown away. I believe that we've paid up everything we've gone through in our life. We is the price we've paid to be who we are today.
Yeah.
And some of us have used what we've gone through as an expense, and some have made it an investment, expecting that ROI that you talked about earlier. It's clear that you have used it as an investment, and I just want to tell you, I'm grateful that Kelly and Joe both wanted us to meet and connect, and I'm grateful. I'm going to say something to you, and you can. I did this with a young man one day who just got out of prison, and we were sitting in a Starbucks, and we were just sitting there talking, and and it's in my TED talk. If you want to look at it at some point, you can see it. And I told him, I said, tell me about why you went to prison. And he told me, and he says, dealing drugs. And I said, why? Is this your last time? He goes, no. I said, why not? He goes, it's too lucrative to give up. I'm like, okay, I know I hold on to things that I know I shouldn't do or shouldn't be, but I do because they're too lucrative to give up. Excuse me, I just dropped something. But whatever that looks like. And I said, what about your mom and dad? He said, mom and dad. He goes, my dad told me he didn't even have a son anymore.
Mhm.
I said, what about your mom? My mom said, don't even bother coming to my funeral. And I said, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. And he says, no, it's okay. And I said, bullshit. It's not okay. No
That's
man
right.
should ever say that to his son, and no mom should ever say that to her son. And I said, so can I give you a gift? And he said, yeah. And he's all gangbang tatted up, and he's got, his girlfriend with him, and he's trying to be kind of macho. And I just turned to him and I said, sir, I said, and on behalf of your father,
Mhm.
I want to say I'm sorry.
Mhm.
As you may never hear those words from him, but you need to hear them. And on behalf of your father, I'm sorry. On behalf of your mother, I'm sorry. On behalf of your father, I'm sorry that I didn't see things that I could have done differently, things that I could have been differently, things that I could have spoken differently about you, over you. And with your mom, I'm sorry that I wasn't there in that maternal aspect that you needed in those pivotal moments.
Yeah.
He just sat there and he just looked at me and he's like, no tear, but it was like his eyes were misty.
Yeah.
His
He
girlfriend,
needed it.
what's that?
He needed it, man. That
Yeah,
was medicine to
we
his soul.
all need it, right? I mean, my mom was a great mom, but she was a single mom and she never had any money. And we were always broken. We were always moving from 6 different high schools, 20 different elementary schools. Great person, but just not equipped to do the things that she wanted to do, and never really sought that out. I just want to tell you, I am so grateful. I'm going to turn this a little bit differently. I'm grateful that your mom and your dad held the place that they did, because I think it opened up for the people to step into your life, for you to become the man that you are. And I am grateful for the price you've paid to be who you are, to make the
Thank you.
impact that you have. I am grateful for that.
No, thank you, brother. Your words are awesome because I know they come from the heart.
Mm.
And I don't care how strong people think they are, say they are. We all need ministry, right?
Yeah.
And there are days when, you know, uh, you served, you poured yourself empty, and someone speak back into you, and those are priceless. And I appreciate you, Bob, for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I received that. Thank you. Let's open it up. Flo, you have a question or a comment? Jim, I'm looking online. I think most people are just kind of dumbfounded with your story, but we'll see if they chime in. Flo.
Oh, thank you so much, James, for sharing today. Wow. I was writing a few things down, and your story about Matt and Gilbert in the hospital. And I wrote down, you witnessing that with Gilbert. Was that a turning point for you, or was it maybe your grandma where you were?
No, man, when grandma came in, it was like, and that was salvation.
Mm,
You see, I wouldn't try the rehab. I gave up. When mom slapped me, she didn't just slap me, man. She slapped hope out of me.
mm,
You see, a nurse with all her experience was telling my mom what could be, but my mom, young, never been this before, didn't know what to do with a child with a disability, had no words to comfort me, or in fact, they didn't even explore why I was having the surgeries.
mm,
We learned what my medical condition was when I was 11. Every one of those surgeries were experimental without my mom knowing what it was. I said, we didn't know. And if it wasn't for a neighbor across the street talking to my grandmother, who happened to be a Shriner, I never go to the Shriners. She was pivotal. And
mm,
so when she told me I could get up, I got up because of her. I needed her.
Well, bless her.
Yeah. Bless for sure. Wow.
And Gilbert, I mean, did you stay in touch with Gilbert, or?
Gilbert got adopted by one of the nurses there.
Oh,
And man, yeah, Gilbert got a greater home. Gilbert went on tour with Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie would bring him out. He got to do some cool things, man. Yeah, it
oh,
is the abandonment allowed for was really a pruning.
Mm,
another
He
door.
just, yeah,
Rooney.
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Thank you.
No,
Jim, you have a comment, I'm sure.
Hi, Bob and James. What a blessing. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm so touched and overwhelmed right now with you and your heart and your soul. I can feel the energy. So I like Flo wrote some notes. I've got some things I'm going to take away from today that I'll cherish. One is you said live life big enough for both of us when you're talking to about your grandma.
Yeah.
So powerful. So thank you. And one more thing was, if you want to become someone, you got to go through something. That's so important to think about.
Jim Miller, I want to tell you something, brother. Probably the biggest hurdle for me was getting over the desire to throw in the towel, because it would have been so easy to. Everyone told me to go get disability. People told me I would never become something. I was unlovable. My dad said, there's no way you could be mine, right? My dad blood tested me 3 times. He just could not accept the fact that he could have a crippled son. When it came to moments in my life and sitting in front of the house waiting for him to come by and get me, like he'd promised, he never did. And then growing up and realizing my dad lived a block and a half away. He just never came. You see, when I came to the grave and I shared with grandma all my desires and my hopes and dreams, and I started thinking about the fact that everything that I'm doing today is what she told me I was born to do. There was never a time that she allowed me to feel sorry for myself or to believe that I wouldn't be great. She was like, baby, you Superman. She kept telling me that. She bought me my first weight set. She had me working out. It wasn't just motivation. Man, this is that stuff when Walt Disney, they said, man, it's a shame he never saw Disney World. They said, no, you're seeing what he saw. Think about this, man. When I think about her now, I think about doing her proud. And I think about the mantle that I'll pass on to my kids. Will there be some big shoes for them to fill? Absolutely. But they should fill them. There's 2 of them. There was only 1 of me. They have 4 feet. I have 1. You know, they better do some big stuff, you know. Jim, you as well. You and I carry the same name. There's great responsibility with you. The fact that we are even here with Bob and with Flo and whoever else is watching, it's not by accident that we're sharing each other's timeline and lives and we're investing in each other. This isn't just a conversation. This is an investment where we owe each other accountability to be more so we can serve more.
I take that mantle.
Yeah.
Take it seriously. Thank you for sharing that.
No, you're welcome, my friend.
Giving me that that spur on. Thank you.
James, I'm grateful. I'm really grateful that you have come across my path and that I've come across yours. And not for any other reason than I truly believe that meetings are predestined, and that they don't happen because of circumstance or happenstance.
It's providence, man.
It's providence, absolutely. And I look at somebody like you and I just go, it just feels right. It just feels right that you would be this man that you are today. We've all met people who play the victim card. We've all played them from time to time at some point in our life. But I can tell you this, I am so thankful for a man like you who takes all the excuses, sweeps them aside and says, I got all the reasons to to abolish my excuses and to let my limitations just disappear. I can't wait. I'm going to be sharing this out on my Facebook multiple times.
Man, please do, brother. Please
Yeah,
do.
definitely. No,
I would tell you, the only time I ever played a victim card, I'm going to tell you the truth now. You know, when I get to the airport, you know, I'm walking around and there's these long lines. I remember sometimes, wait a minute, I get to go in the disability line and I take that shortcut. And then when I'm walking past, people get angry, like, what the heck, you know? And I have to pull my pant leg up and then they feel bad. And then I get across there and I'm like, whew, I almost had to go through that long line. Outside of that, I don't use it, but that was a good one there.
I love it. Yeah, we're going to be sharing this on Facebook, and I'm going to be putting it up into YouTube, and we'll put it up there as well. We'll tag you, you know, get all that.
Do so,
all
brother.
your stuff there. We'll make you a part of our Next Level by Association private group as well, where people can stay connected with you and do some different things.
Excellent.
What, how would you like people to next step to take advantage of maybe some of the things you have going on, or your book, or, you know, any groups that you have?
Okay. Man, I'm about to tell you, I've got
Awesome.
a great idea. Bob, I want you to join an exclusive group, one that is rare. And I want the whole team, Flo, especially you. We're going to schedule your amputations. You will be drafted by the amputee party. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, here's what we do. The book, Absolute Motivation. I promise you, if you read it, you will love it, but you can pass that on to someone else. It's a dose of hope. It's a diary. It's a love letter back to God and thanking him for my grandmother. I promise you, if you got that off of Amazon, that'd be great. I just want to, that's a source of encouragement. But if you'll watch Absolute Motivation YouTube channel.
I subscribed already and have liked already several of those.
Yeah. And so if you guys would just do that, I promise you, you'll love that. Man, that's it. I really don't have any ask other than I want genuine relationships. If there's a way I can serve you or use anything that I'm doing to help, Bob, your heart alone, man, is golden. And so if there's anything you ever need, you want, like, how do we do such and such? How do we grow things or do some things that can aid you? Then let me do that for you. I don't have anything that I want other than relationships. I don't need any other transactions. I really have I went from attending, seeing things and never knowing, like, okay, wow, how did these guys get known, to writing a book. I shared it on my YouTube channel and it sold so many copies. I got the international bestseller. I hit the Hall of Fame. I could have paid to do that New York Times. I'm not doing that. I'm not, man, I simply want relationships. There's no fame or anything. I get to go to places and speak, and it's just an honor for me. So if you guys would subscribe, if you have any amputees or you find somebody you think I might be an encouragement to, reach out to me and I'll reach out to them.
Absolutely. Wow, we will do that. Guys, I know you'll follow up. I know that you'll stay in contact with them. So, you know, whether you're watching this live or recorded, or whether you're in the group, or whether you're just watching this on Facebook right now, just know that these words are, you know, as powerful as they are, they're words until you put them to action, and he's put them to action. So take the words that he's used and combine them with the action that he's applied. He's applied this action. He's what my friend David Meltzer calls has paid the dummy tax. He's paid all the dummy tax of all the mistakes and all the errors and all the trials and everything else. Why not take advantage of that? So maybe it's in his book, or maybe it's you telling somebody else, or maybe you're buying books for, you know, your team or something like that. This is a great opportunity. I really believe that this gentleman is changing lives in such a magnificent way. And I know that when you talked about on YouTube, you were talking about what's your goal for in 5 years, 4 years?
Oh no, that's gone, brother. let me tell you, that's all gone. So this is my goal. By the end of 2024, to have reached 500 million people. By the end of 25, to reach 2 billion. It's over. Brother, we were at less than 30 million in March. You understand? To be at 192 million now. The problem is, man, it's no longer do I have goals. I've had to think of things that were astronomical and make them pedestrian, because those things are happening. And so when you think about it, and I compare, like Les Brown, what a name, right? What a legend. You take David Meltzer, Les Brown, combine him with Tony Robbins, and to have more views than all of them combined, times 2. Only God has done that. And the fact that my voice is resonating with a different generation, I'm
Yes.
going to take and keep it going, man. It's no secret to like algorithm. It's what we're saying and how we're saying it. And then now I'm going on tour, speaking in churches. I'm speaking in cities. We're arriving, we're giving hope to people. And then those people go out and share that. They experience is what lives. And you give them that experience, that connection, it changes everything.
Amen. So true. Well, brother, I love you. I appreciate you. I'll be praying for you. I prayed for you this morning.
Man,
For your
please do, man. I appreciate it. As you can see, Bob, on my Facebook, whenever I go to speak, anytime, I ask people to pray for me, pray for those, because it's the impact, and I don't want to leave.
Absolutely. Well, I
Thank
thank
you.
you for all the work you're doing, and I'm grateful for us connecting. And I look forward to more things that we can do together and how we can play together.
Oh, count on it. Let me show you something. I worked on something just for you.
Okay.
Now, this is something I would never do it normally, but I've been working out all this time. I was just lifting weights, but I was working on the idea. I was like, man, I need to show Flo. You might want to watch this. I've worked on my flexibility. And one of the things that I've been able to do while standing still, I'm able to put my foot above my head. I mean, it's been an amazing tactic, man, because of hard work. Man, I've been able to have more flexibility than any man ever. You know what I'm saying? It's hard work, but it's proof that anything's possible. We always have to remember, brother, life is full of joy. The things that made you cry, one day can turn into things that give you your why. Thank you for the time that you gave me.
Brother, thank you. Guys, get out there, make it a great week. Impact some people's lives. Share this video, share it on your Facebook, share it on your YouTube. We'll have it up in YouTube within the next day. But be sure and share it out. Get some people this message. It's going to really transform some lives, and it might just even be our own. We just apply it. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Love you. Thank you, James. I appreciate you and love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
You've been listening to Your Next Level Now with Bob Donnell. To find out more, call us at 949-542-6398. That's 949-542-6398. Or you can find more information on our website at everythingnextlevel.com. That's everythingnextlevel.com.